Three, two, one.
Hey, we're back with Verbal Laxative. I'm Jason.
Simpson.
Bryan.
And Hassan can't be with us today because he is now on the mission to become the next Japanese AV star. After hearing about Jason's failure, he thought he had a shot at
I would actually be super impressed if that's what he was doing.
It's quite in demand. It's quite in demand.
Do you think he'll make it? Because he is a visible minority.
I've never seen a brown guy in
Maybe it'll be a new genre. He has to break the market.
Do you think Japanese people would actually like that?
I don't think so.
He's also a guy.
They're pretty set in their race there.
Yeah.
It's like 98%, right? Japan, like for Japanese.
I don't know like numbers, but it sure seems like it from my research.
They're very high for
homogeneous.
Research. It's for science.
Of course.
Well, even for the country, it's very homogeneous.
You should know, Jason. You tried to make it big there as a pornography star, a gay pornography star.
No, that's not right at all. None of that is true. But actually, speaking of which, I remember
what a quick
just recently.
Of,
actually, it's still on the Japanese. I shouldn't say the Japanese, but they're like so set. Like I heard that their schools, they're getting kids in trouble because if they had different colored hair, so they'd even check or they'd ask for baby pictures if they had a different hair color than black.
You think that's all the schools, or just some schools that do that?
I would hope some schools, but I have no idea.
Oh, I mean, like, if a kid shows up with blonde hair, you already know, like, that's not your natural hairstyle. Like, what do you even need a picture for?
Well, I think just to verify if they use the excuse that's like, oh, this is just my natural hair color.
Oh, so maybe it's like, oh yeah, prove it to me.
Yeah.
So what age can they dye their hair? When are they allowed?
When they graduate and they enter the workforce.
Because the article or whatever I had initially read about this was that a kid was like suing the school because they were forcing her to dye her hair black as a result. So
that must not be a widespread thing then.
I did read that schools are looking to take away smartphones from students because it's becoming such a distraction.
Oh, I read it. That was just today, actually. I saw about that. I didn't actually. I only saw the headline, but there's obviously controversy about that. I don't really know. I don't really care because I don't think they should have phones at that age, anyways. But I'm just old now.
Like, what do you think? Like, high school is okay, junior high is where it's not okay. Like,
well, I got my first phone in high school, so that's where I would draw the line.
Same.
But that's just
same.
Personally speaking.
No, well, for smartphones maybe in high school, but I think for regular phones, I think junior high, we had them in junior high.
No,
I didn't. I had a regular phone, like
Nobody.
just a flip, like no name brand,
like the candy bar. Oh,
and that was in high school.
Yeah, that was in. Yeah, we didn't have smartphones back then.
Not smartphones, but we did. Well, maybe Blackberries. Would you consider Blackberries smartphones?
I didn't even have that.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I had the flip phone.
Right, but you had a phone in junior high though.
No, actually, you know what? In my junior high, there was one kid that got in shit for having a flip phone, and it was like one day only in like the final exams. Time
that's
period.
a bad time to have a phone.
Well, no, like around that time.
Oh, okay.
And then it was funny too, because this kid he was dressed very like nicely that day. He had he had dress pants on. I don't know why dress pants on, dress shoes, like in grade 9. I think he had somewhere to go, but then he had like the cell phone carrier clip thing on his belt, the one that you could put your flip phone.
The holster.
The holster.
The holster, yeah. And he's walking around like a big shot. It's like, look at me, I'm a big executive or something. I don't even know where he got it. He's just like, I am 10 years older than I am now, because I am dressed like this and look like this and have a phone. And then the teacher, right when she saw, was like, you brought a cell phone today. He's like, no, you can't have that. Give that to me. I'm confiscating it. And you just see his entire confidence for that day just shot.
You think the teacher was just jealous?
Of him? No.
Yeah, they didn't have a phone.
Now,
so I want to check that out.
No, it was just funny. Like he came in, he looked like he was on call for business. That's what it looked like. And then right after he just got owned, and he started saying, "Why? But I need it." And he said that's when it all came out, like the squealing. My dad says I need it today. There might be a family related matter I have to go to. On the verge of tears, and then that's when we're like, "Oh, dude."
Oh God! What if
this
it was something?
is all gone.
It could have been something like if he's actually dressed nicely. What if it was like a funeral or something?
No, it wasn't black colored
okay.
clothes. I remember it was like a red polo or something like that. and then he just
Oh, he's gonna play golf then.
yeah, I
Just
don't
waiting
think
for
so.
the call from the president.
No, he looked like a very young adolescent office worker.
So like coming to the present, like my friends who are teachers, you're not allowed to confiscate phones because it's too much of a liability. Because if you lose the phone, you have to pay it. And
Yeah.
now these days, these phones are too expensive. That
Yeah.
on a teacher's salary, you can't pay for 30 students' phones. when
It's
you
a
confiscate them all.
complete switch now. Now back then the teachers were like just confiscating with impunity, and now it's like they sweat when
They do sweat, yeah. They really don't have powers. Like if the students knew that how helpless the teachers
Yeah,
are.
kids are assholes now. If anything, they'd be like, if there's a crack on their phone, then they just get it confiscated and then blame the teacher.
And if
after.
you're a male teacher, you're susceptible to female students because you're like if you're ever in a room with them alone and the doors are closed, you're screwed.
Well,
Whatever story they tell, you have no way of backing out.
Well, I have some I guess my wife's cousins, their kids right now are in like high school, elementary, junior high, and then apparently for the younger kids, like when class starts, they do actually come and collect the phones. They collect the phones, they put them all into one box, they put it at the front of the teacher's desk or something like that, and they do it like that.
Yeah, that probably works for now, but it can be a liability, and there's a risk involved, right? If
I guess
anything happens with that box, that policy will be gone instantly.
Well, it's just one kid's phone breaks or something, and they think that's the cause, and they tell their parents that's just gonna snowball.
One phone breaks or one phone lost, anything.
Yeah,
All it takes is one incident, and that policy is gone.
that's why I'm glad I'm done with school. I don't have to deal with this crap.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's like now in a classroom of just if you're a whole bunch of kids and everybody just has a phone all day.
In high school, do you remember having the giant ass calculators, the TI like 83, 84?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
still
I do.
use that, don't they?
Do they? Because like our phones are much smaller now, and they do way more than those.
Right, but
and
they
those
don't-
were expensive too.
Do you think they just download the graphing app? Because you have to graph.
Yeah, you
graphs.
could.
That was the mostly for what the TI was for. It was just a fancy graph.
I think they need to buy the calculator because you need that for a test, right? can't
You
use
also
your
need
phone
it
for
for
Yeah,
center
that's
right
true.
test.
It's
Yeah.
like those. Can they still be like $200-$300 or whatever they were? 'Cause
Yes.
they seem so basic now.
Because they're educational. Like for example, chemistry in universities is a ripoff. Like you try to buy beakers, you have to buy these standardized beakers, and they're way overpriced. Like you could buy a beaker from like Home Depot or, and the price is way cheaper, but they're not standardized, right? So
Wait,
whenever you
oh.
do these experiments, if you're using non-standardized equipment, you can't publish your papers.
Wait, you talking about?
Wait, well, hold on. Yeah,
university
in
and stuff?
school, you never had to buy your own beakers.
Yeah,
in
like-
Well,
high
not
school
in-
and shit.
Well, I'm talking about like this is a comparison to university. What I'm saying is the reason why like the Texas Instrument calculators are so expensive is because they can make it expensive because it's an educational thing.
I don't think they get any newer either. They're still like using the same ones that I used, and I was.
There are I've
Long
seen
time.
newer models, but they may prescribe an older one. But it's the same issue as like textbooks, right? Textbooks, no one really needs them, especially this day and age when the internet has like free material and they're like a lot more engaging with people and teaches better than a textbook. Like I don't see any point in buying a textbook. Yet they're still being sold at a
they're
very high
huge
price.
ripoffs
For money.
And it
It's for the
sucks
money.
worse because it's like some of the courses that you take, they'll be like, oh, you'll need this textbook, and then even if you're in the mindset that no, screw it, I don't need it, then the first like few days or whatever, they're gonna mention something in the textbook. You're gonna think you need it, you get it, and then they never mention
That's
it.
where sharing comes in. And the challenge is it's not the professor that decides whether there's a textbook or not, and it's not about the faculty either. It's like really high up. It's like the school board or whatever, and it's like almost like country or state level and relationship over there.
Did something happen?
Yeah, just hold up.
Do they still sell floatware on computers when you still buy them?
I haven't bought one in a long time.
I
imagine
think they
it
do.
Depends on the brand. They probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you buy your computer from like, I don't want to say. Actually, yeah, maybe. If you get it from like fucking Best Buy or whatever, I think it comes with some preloaded shit.
Just don't mention one of our sponsors.
We have none. We are completely for the people and by the people.
How about Microsoft? Like, are they known for floatwares or bloatware, I should say?
No, no, it's all the standard shit.
I think there's might be a few things that are very minor that you can get rid of, but
now
overall,
it's actually just the computer manufacturer. So if you buy it from Lenovo, they might have some of their shit on there.
Oh, I see. Right.
For like monitoring.
I think Lenovo a few years back they actually had a big deal with that.
Yeah. And then people were making a fuss, and then most companies now are trying to be as minimal as possible.
That's good, I think. Actually, speaking of like software, do you think they still use Windows Media Player? Like, do you think people still use that? Because you have like YouTube and like Netflix and stuff, and they have these browser players.
Yeah, but people still download stuff.
Yeah, like if you're gonna watch porn on two screens, you gotta open one that's Windows Media Player, and then you get VLC on the other one, and you maximize them all, right?
You could just have multiple browser windows.
You don't think they just watch on the browser? They don't just watch it on the hub?
This is if you got like a 4K video that's like on your hard drive, like me.
Some things are worth keeping. But...
Yeah.
Does the extra graphics help?
Oh, I'm
the
gonna be
imagination?
a
I thought it's
pleb.
all in the head anyways.
All in the head. Okay,
the
Brian.
head.
You fucking psycho. Nobody. You still. Well, you gotta play. What else are you gonna play on your computer if you gotta play a video file on your computer?
Well, most videos is all streaming now. I find, like, I would at least download nowadays.
Just because you don't download doesn't mean like other people don't. Like what you record like whole movies or whatever, and you play it back on the computer. What are you gonna play it with?
Yeah, a lot of people still send the files itself to other people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
they
think,
can upload it to a
you
site.
can also, but you can also like if you have like Google Chrome, you can drag a movie file in there and it'll play on the browser too.
Or you could just
yeah, but
play
if
it
I have the file, I'm gonna
on
use
the
VLC.
Windows Media Player that comes with your computer.
But you use VLC. But the question I guess is Windows Media Player. People use that.
Sure.
That was the
Yeah.
old school one, right?
Yeah.
I think all the generic people like they'll just use it because that's what's.
They'll just
What came
double
with
click
it.
on it, and whatever comes up, that's what they're gonna use to view on.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I want to talk about AI for a sec.
Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Meaty conversation.
So they were talking about how some AI right now has some shortcomings. One of them is imagination, like creativity. Like how does an AI think of new things, right? And so the developers of DeepMind, basically what they're doing is they're trying to take principles from how our brains work and try to mimic AI or have AI mimic how the brain work and figure a way of that. So what they looked at was memory. So when we think of human memory, we see it, well, from studies, it's proven that memory is a reconstruction of a story. Like, it's not a snapshot of the events, right? Like, our brain isn't like a camera that records things. What it does is, like, it takes pictures of things, and then whenever you're asked to remember something, your brain creates a narrative of that and then reconstructs it. So generally, memory, especially when you're thinking of, like, crime and stuff, like, witnesses are very unreliable because they're creating a story of what they saw, and it's usually not a depiction of what happens, right? Okay, so now that we established what a memory is, which is a reconstruction,
It's like a lecture.
Thank you, Professor Brian.
well,
Jesus
it's
fucking
important,
Christ.
right? But what they're thinking is that imagination, like when we imagine stuff or fantasize stuff, it also uses the same process as the memory. Is that we reconstruct ideas, right? Mm-hmm. So they try to prove that too, or there's actually a study that proves that. So what they found is memory, the part of the brain that controls it, is called the hippocampus, and they found that people who have a hippocampus that's been damaged, they tend to have amnesia. And so what they've tested is they asked them, like, oh, describe a beach or describe an island or describe just like a scenery. And they found that the people's description of them, people who have these mental or who has a damaged hippocampus, would give very bare bone descriptions. And they're usually fact based and stuff. But they don't really talk about the characteristics of the atmosphere, or they don't add a lot of like story elements to make it feel like a beach. You know,
Okay.
like just like
Wait, so how would you describe a beach in that much detail?
oh, you talk about the smell. You could talk about like the breeze. You could talk about the color of the waters. You could talk about the sun. There's a lot of things you can add in on a beach.
Well, yeah, but
You
I
don't just
mean,
say like sand, water.
Yeah, but if someone just asks you describe a beach, that's what I'm gonna say. Like, there's sand, there's the ocean, and yeah. Like,
Yeah, that's why that would be a really dull
that's
conversation.
why I was mentioning
Yeah.
the question. It's all I know how the question's phrased, though.
It can be how the question's phrased, but it also can be based on how good your memory is.
Wait, so what was your question then?
All right. So the
Jesus
idea.
Christ.
So what they're finding, the idea they're finding is that the quality of your imagination is related to the quality of your memory. So the better your memory is, the better your imagination is, right? So based on that, what they did with the computer is they taught it with that principle, is to teach it to. They send inputs in the computer, kind of like they're like blocks, and then get the computer to reconstruct it like a memory in a sense, right? So they found that they can train the computer to do that. So what they did is they had like, say you had like a room and you had a camera on the faces of the walls, and so each camera would take a picture of it, and then it would send that to the computer, and then the computer can figure out, like, because it knows where the camera's positioned, it can reconstruct the room based on just the angles of the cameras, right? And then once it kind of can figure out that like training, what they will do is like they will give like maybe two camera angles, and then ask like what would the third camera angle be based on the information you got from two of them. And so now the computer would have to imagine what that view would be, right, given the information is gone. So it reconstructs it. So it's almost like it's reconstructing a memory in a sense.
Okay, so what are you asking?
So
What the fuck have you been asking the whole time?
well, I'm not really asking anything.
I
Basically, the idea is that
He wanted to educate us. This is an education podcast.
Guys, I wanted to ask you something. Look how good. Look how good. Look how much I know about the computer.
well, basically, I think where we're going with AI right now is that we're teaching it how to imagine things, like create new ideas, like be creative. We're teaching a computer like to think of its own things, you know.
So is it good at it?
I don't think so.
Result.
Well, right now they're doing simple things like just like shapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it can like, if you give it some input, it can figure out stuff. It works. Like, so basically, imagination. You can't just start with a blank canvas. You can't, like, if like a baby, you can't just ask it like think creatively. Like creativity, I guess it comes from memory. Like if like people who are very creative has to have like a lot of memories that to draw from, and it's like a combination of the things that you have in your memory, right? So if your memory is filled with very dull stuff, then your imagination would be very dull.
It's a little different. Like the way a computer, the way that the AI learns is by massive amounts of repetition, right? So it's still even different from a baby right now, because I read some forums, some of these guys that were working on AI, and then basically what they say is like right now the AI is not even advanced enough to do what a baby can do right now, because that leap from machine learning to actually start to form thoughts, even the most basic thoughts, that is like a really big leap right now. And the one thing that they can just do right now to do for machine learning is just to bombard it with like a million things, right?
Yeah. Well, I think its imagination would just be purely based off facts. Like
Yeah,
you actually upload to it. So what a cube actually looks like, and then you could try to get.
Yeah, it will show like
imagine.
a million whatever images of a cube at all different angles or whatever, and then the AI will be, okay, this is what a cube looks, or whatever the fuck that means, right? But the way this guy was explaining it on what I was reading, he was like, okay, well, right now the AI doesn't really have a method from, like, say how baby learns to stand up and stand up and walk instead of crawling, right? The AI right now, by itself, it can't do anything like that yet. It's not even close to doing something like that. Like the AI itself, if you've only programmed it or whatever to crawl, or if it knows how to crawl, it doesn't have that, like that kind of that change, that spark that a baby has when he's like, oh, I want to try to stand or whatever, and I want to try to walk. and it's different from like those creepy Boston Dynamics robots where you see walking on stairs because
You're talking about the dog.
Yeah, the
They've
dogs.
made huge strides in
Yeah,
years.
because
so-
what they do, that is like over iteration after iteration,
Yes, tons.
and a lots of simulations and programming how to walk upstairs, right? Like the AI right now can't really do that by itself. Go from if it was crawling around like a baby to stand up and try to walk, or it can't make that leap right now. And then so right now people are just the best thing that they're trying to do to make it learn is just bombarding it with data, like millions upon millions of like if it's supposed to be movement, it's this data movement, right? If it's supposed to be like information about like a network of people, and it has to sort things out, it just bombards it with people's information. That's the way that that's the way they're developing it.
Actually, there's actually one that is actually a contradiction to this. In California, there's a lot of startup right now for self-driving cars.
Yeah.
And there's a company right now that they're doing self-driving car studies, and they found that like okay, if you're putting all these sensors and stuff on a car, the cost of the car is way too high.
Yeah.
And what they found is that if we take like satellite imagery, like from Google, like Google Earth or something, right?
Right.
And it's like, say it's like 50 centimeter resolution, which is not, which is very achievable right now. So, and it's not that costly to collect. And so if you upload that information to the car as like a preloaded information, then the car just needs a few sensors. And what it can do is it can use the map as its initial like estimation and then drive with it. And then if like say the map is slightly off compared to what the road is, then it can adjust with it. And they found that they can use less sensors and still have that autonomous driving with just the preloaded data.
Yeah, but that's still different. The car, it's like when you're a person driving and you're making the changes you see yourself.
Right.
You're doing it from your own eyes and you're thinking from yourself, from that little vantage point of you in the car.
Yeah.
Right. It is. They're saying, the guy's saying that part where you're just like you're the car. You don't have any other preloaded GPS data. You don't have a top-down view of anything.
Right.
It's just that you're the AI. You have a sight looking outside from your car, and then it has to make decisions based on that.
Right.
Whatever. It's nowhere near like even like a kid's level of comprehension. It's not gonna get that way yet.
Right.
But when it does, like these things would come exponentially, right?
Right.
Once it reaches that level, it will be capable of doing a lot more things to the power of like 10 or something like that, right?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like because you're talking about like the dog, the Boston dog thing, right? It has a lot of like sensors and stuff and a lot of computation that it does. What I'm trying to say is that with the AI development and stuff, they're trying to pull back the input information, giving it like kind of like a pre-knowledge. That way that you don't need to bombard it with all the information.
Right, but it's still pre-knowledge, right? Like
in a sense, yeah, it's still pre-knowledge.
Like when the baby starts walking, there's no pre-knowledge in there.
Well, you would say experience be pre-knowledge.
What experience is that? It's never experienced standing up before in his life.
Right, but it had experience where, like, for example, a baby would likely walk in its own home, and it experiences this.
I think
it's
kind
called
of
like
ways,
things
though.
like that.
No, because they can't make the AI simulate like that biological evolution yet. That simple one where it just goes from crawling to walk. The baby has never experienced that in its life. None of its muscles, none of its brain has ever
Well,
actually
I
used
could see
it to
where you're
walk
going with this.
before.
It's true, like, so, but just going back, so the baby can experience walking because, parents would just kind of lift it up on its feet and, you'll see people walking.
You'll see, the parents
so
walking.
They'll have that knowledge, but it'll be able to learn from that and learn to walk basically on its own.
Right.
Essentially. But then, with the robots, basically you have to still program it and, program like each parameter of like the gyroscopics and everything that needs to be done. So it's not the point where it can actually learn just by seeing people walk or something like that.
Right. Like the baby, like when the baby sees people walking, it's just never done it before itself, right? And to be able to make itself even try to get up and walk and use the muscles, that's at a point where the AI is not even close at that point. You can't just be like, if it's the same kind of analogy where it's like you're trying to get a robot that was programmed to only walk on all fours, and then you're saying, okay, well, you have the equipment and the hardware to actually stand on two legs. Why don't you, like if you're trying to tell it to stand on two legs right now, it's probably not going to.
I would think that if and when robots do reach that stage, they're gonna just learn like super quick.
Yeah, exponentially. Like
once it sees someone walking, you just tell it, hey, walk, and it's gonna be able to
so
immediately.
It's not at that point. And then the guy was saying, like, right now, if you have all the best firms that are in the cutting edge of AI right now, the one thing that each firm is doing right now is trying to bombard their like prototypes of just data, just millions upon millions of just fucking data simulations and shit to try to get to even start to piece together like simple things, stuff like that. So the thing about the memory is the human memory, I don't know, it seems kind of flawed anyways. Like you said, the witnesses when for like police witnesses, they sometimes you give them some time, they don't remember a lot of details. Even right when it happens, they don't remember shit, and
it's all fabricated.
Yeah, a lot of it is, like you said, they piece together information, they come up with
and
stuff.
It's also dangerous because you can also implant memories, right?
Yeah.
You make a suggestion like the color red, like what color or like what kind of jacket was it, and things like that. And you can lead the witness into thinking of a certain narrative, and then when they go to court, they already have that narrative stuck in their mind.
And that's why courts kind of like they have those rules where sometimes like, oh, you can't give
leading questions.
Yeah, you can't have leading questions. Give the witnesses something like that.
One thing our memories also has trouble with is holes. Like if you ever have a hole in your memory, we fill it in, right?
Yeah.
Like automatically, you would, if you can't remember like the person's name or something, you would just give it a name or a face or whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely happens.
Well, that works with our vision too, because it's like our eyes can only focus on so many things. Yeah. That the stuff that's like in your peripherals or whatever, your mind's just basically making it up.
Yeah, apparently they said you get really low resolution for the stuff you're not focusing on, like shittier than like a CRT monitor. But then the stuff that you focus on right now is insanely high.
And it's also weird too, like if you ever like stare in someone's eyes, and you know how like sometimes your eyes has that twitch moment where it like shakes and
maybe
stuff?
Yours, because you're a fucking psycho. That's like
no, actually the shaking of the eyes, like even if you're looking from room to room, your eyes isn't moving like a smooth motion, right?
Yeah, it's basically like scanning and making a picture.
Well, it flickers, it goes like it bounces, right? But when it moves, when it jerks like that, your brain like shuts off for that moment, so you're not seeing the world like whip in front of you. Right, like in your brain everything seems very smooth, but in reality your eyes is like bouncing around. Yeah, it's a big filter. Yeah, so like our brain is very smart in a sense.
Well, that's why the machine can do it much better. And once the AI can actually do these things, it will remember. It'll remember stuff way better than we can, and it'll remember in a way, and that we could never do, right? Like, there will never be... If an AI had to be called up for a witness, they're not going to be... You're not going to be...
It's just going to play a video.
Yeah, it just plays a video. It's like, this is exactly what I saw.
And then people are like, we can't trust this AI.
With, like,
no, there's no...
We want that human witness back.
There's no way. You'll be like, I don't ever want a human witness ever again. I just want AI witness. I just want cameras.
Then it's going to lead to, like, having cameras everywhere. Don't they already do that in some places?
I feel like
some places already have cameras everywhere.
The law is, like, the slowest to adopt technology, though.
It's, like...
Well, it's just because it's so disputable, like in the public's eye, they want a sense of privacy and everything.
Which is funny because it's like technology should be indisputable with videos and stuff like that.
No, because the law is slower to catch up because there's a lot more things to consider than just adopting technology and just rolling with it. That's why. When they adopt these things, they have to think about they try to think about all the loopholes, because if you have a loophole in the law that you just wrote, then it right off the bat there's flaws in it, right? So that's why they try to that's why it's really slow too. They always have to try to think of but what about does it contravene the other law, the existing law we have, and then does it contravene like people's privacy? Blah blah blah. It has to make sure it doesn't contradict with anything else, right?
Yeah, and sometimes newer laws, they make it vague so they can cover all the grounds. But then by covering too many grounds, then people get concerned. It's like, well, what if you abuse the law, right?
Yeah, that's the national, like a national security law is usually vague because they don't want it to be in a bind, right?
Yeah.
So
but then people feel like, oh, then we're giving way too much control, and then people can abuse this because it's like, oh, that law covers that thing, and in like, you know, fringe cases where it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, man, but it's also your society too, because some societies it's not like, oh, the law says so, so I'm gonna do it. You know, like if it's not in the laws, let's just say you're fully within your rights to just take a shit on the street or something like that.
Yeah.
Some people might not just, you know, like in some societies they'll be like, no, even if the law says we can, I kind of don't want to.
well, that's the funny thing with the law, right? Like if
whereas you know, and then you have another guys that's clean their whole life and they've, you know, like they've never done that before, but. Did you hear they passed a law where I can shit on a street now? I'm going to take full advantage of this, man. I've never done this before in my life. This is going to be a thrill. You have people like that.
Right? Because, like, you know, the Harvard thing started because of that, right? Where someone, I think he was white or something, he took the test and he had the same grade as somebody else. But then in Harvard, they wanted, like, I guess a certain percentage of ethnicity. And then they didn't let that white guy in. So then he sued Harvard and about like racial discrimination or whatever it might be, and that's how he got in. And then because of that, then Harvard had to make this law about where they had this like requirement about like where they can judge you based on your character.
Wait, Harvard made that law?
Or they made that like criteria where they judge your character, right? And then what happened down the road is they started using that against Asians because they were finding that like Asians they had higher SAT scores and stuff and they were getting in a lot. And so then, and because they had this quota of like certain race and stuff, then they started using that characteristics against the Chinese or Asians, I guess, in general. And then now that started another controversy where Asians were not getting in Harvard even though they had better scores than other races.
Wait, so how does that work? Shouldn't it just be based, if they look just at scores, then why would it matter what the race is? Because they have another score. They have another score which is your character score, and that's where they tend to lower or they rate Asians worse. Like, oh, they're too timid and things like that, and that's where. How do they test that?
It's not. It's subjective, but they use it against it, and that's why there's been this like dispute against Harvard and a group of Asians.
No, what they do is, it's just for diversity's sake. It's just basically affirmative action, right?
Affirmative action, yeah, that's what it was called.
Yeah, that's.
But it started with that white guy who like sued them, right? I forgot.
No. It didn't start with that. They've always had like affirmative action or some shit like that.
Right.
Right. It's just that lately, within the past couple of years, a lot of Asians go to like apply and try to get into Harvard. And they get on average, usually, you know, really higher SAT scores than other people, right? Other groups on average. So then that's why they were doing that quota thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So they're like letting more like Hispanic and Black applicants to go in with maybe a lower score than the Asian applicants. It's just literally just for diversity's sake.
Yeah. Well, I think having diversity is good because, like in Singapore, like because a lot of their houses are government supported, right?
Yeah.
And then like condominiums and stuff, they have these ratios like of certain race that they want to mix and they force you to mix, and then so you can't have like a condominium of like Asian Avenue or like a Hindu Avenue. Or
yeah. No. Exactly. Li Guangyao explicitly said back then, the Prime Minister of Singapore, that the state decides where you live. That's what he said. Like,
yeah. Well, I think you can apply to different areas or whatever, but they kind of like they mix you up, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. I guess you have you can move to places, but I imagine that there's like a quota, like. They do have some kind of quota where they won't allow you to move in there if too many Chinese people are moving to a place.
If there's too many Chinese, you
can't
move in there.
But that's not at all like the U.S. at all. The United States, you know, it's completely different.
Right.
United States, you have enough money.
You'll never, it's by money mostly, and by money and connections. Harvard especially, it's like most of the people that get into Harvard is because your dad was like the alumni and he donated.
Oh, actually,
there's that scandal going on
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, with the celebs, right?
Yeah, two celebrities, but it's like tons more people.
Well, the guy who was running it, he called it the side door method, because like the front door is like, you know, that's where you take your tests, that's where you pay your fees, then you do.
They have to look like they're still doing it on merit.
And then they're like the back door is like, you know, you're knowing some connection and you know a guy who knows a guy, but that's only a referral. And the guy who's running the scam, he called it the side door method.
Yeah.
Where like, we'll help your kid get in guarantee.
Yeah.
We'll talk to the coaches and bribe them.
I think this was
like ridiculous.
It's big because a lot of these celebrities, their kids, just completely stupid, just dumb as bricks. There would be no way they would ever get
But the nice thing about it is the parents left the kid out of it. Like, I think one of the kid had a comment where the teacher's like, "Oh, so you run track?" And he's like, "I don't run track." And that's where like
well, there was the one celebrity's kid that she was saying. I think she said in her YouTube video or something like that, like a public forum, that she doesn't care about her grades. She's just there to like party.
Oh, that was the one in California. Like she was like Becky's mom from Full House.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or Becky's daughter. Sorry, I should say.
Some people have been like talking about this already, and they're just like, they just like, okay, so your family's already rich, your kid can already fucking coast. Why the fuck do you even have to go through this shit?
Yeah, no kidding.
And
it's like I think up to $500,000.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all prestige.
It's like
it is. It's literally that's what it said. It's all just prestige. It's like it's not enough that you're a rich family or whatever. You have to have your kids also be with the other rich families in the same like fucking social clubs and the same kind of schools to say, hey, my kid is in Harvard as well. We are all in the Skull and Bone Society or whatever the fuck.
But those kids don't even need the education.
They don't.
They're stupid.
They don't, and they can't even get in. Yeah, because they're stupid.
But they're still going to be
get
super rich and famous.
But this is big because this blew up because those kids are stupid. There's never going to be any way they can get in legitimately. But the story that a lot of people don't know is like the kids that were actually doing the tests and giving the volunteer hours to go in.
They're taking that opportunity away.
Even before, even years back, they already had like problems where if you don't have connections to Harvard or these Ivy League schools, even if you did, but you did the test, you passed the test, you did the volunteer, you had the volunteer experience and whatever, your college resume basically looked good. Some kids were still not getting in because their parents weren't alumni or they weren't connected or something, right? So, but those kids could actually score to get in. These kids, there's no fucking way in hell they could ever go in by their own merit. they're getting in.
I feel like this is the root of the problem. I feel is that schools are bribable, right?
Ivy League.
Yeah.
No one cares about the community college.
Well, any school that becomes prestigious,
it reaches the top.
But the thing is, because schools are bribable, they're receptive to these methods, right? Like if schools were like, oh, we don't care about your money, we have enough, or we they can self-sustain or whatever, right? Then they can judge purely on grades, like that's the idea of like why are politicians paid so much is because you want to pay them enough so that they don't cave into bribes. So schools, we need to develop a system either like to develop it in a way where bribes don't work on.
That's not gonna happen.
Well,
because it's the individual, it's not just the school.
And also,
it could happen like in Sweden or where school it was free. Then how do you bribe them?
Okay, here's the problem.
You bribe the person admitting the student.
Oh, I guess you bribe the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Here's the problem there. It's not as simple as the schools are just too bribable, whatever. It's basically, it's not just a snapshot of the school. It's your entire society that is in behind it too. What happens if these schools is the most prestigious schools? Over time, if the society starts to get really unequal, all your fucking the cream of the crop of your social elites or whatever, they will just have more and more and more of their members in these institutions, and they will just keep on sending their class of people basically concentrated to these institutions as well. And it becomes a point where it just becomes a rich man's club because it's not just money, but it's also your social connections. It's also your standing with everybody too, right? Like the dean of Harvard would be, you know, like fucking friends with the Secretary of State or whatever, right? Like they're all in that same kind of social club together. Their kids are also in that club together. Everybody just congregate. It's not just because of money, right? It's not just because if you're an outsider, it's really hard for you to get in. Even if you made it big, you have to get into that circle. You can't just be like, oh, you know, I can now that my kid's in Harvard or whatever, I'm totally in. No, you're not. You gotta like, kind of ingratiate yourself within that class of people.
Well, that's like with jobs too, and like certain companies.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, like it's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get a situation now that most of the people, especially in the U.S. government, most of the people in government, they come from a very specific. They come from literally the same schools. They're the same classmates. Like the Federal Reserve chair probably was in the same graduating class as like the treasurer and the Secretary of State or whatever, right? Like it just becomes a little. It just becomes a fucking.
It's a tribal thing. Right?
It is. It becomes a really tribal thing, and it's because your society is already ossified. When it gets ossified like that, if the rich and poor divide is too different, you don't get people moving, like having social mobility anymore, right? So then it just gets further more exclusive the more time it goes. And then if you're gonna say, hey, it's just because the schools, we gotta stop bribery in the schools, that won't do much because you can see it's the same thing in government, right? In the U.S. government, it's illegal to bribe a sitting governor, but it's not illegal to lobby them, right? What's the difference? Nothing. Right?
It's a different term.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I can't accept your bribe, but if it's lobby donation, it's okay. Yeah, it's completely like it's completely fair, and they encourage you to be. The more powerful, the more influential you are, the more easier it is for you to lobby them. Yeah. Right? Definitely. The schools is kind of it's more or less the same way. Like the guy's not gonna accept bribes outright, but fucking you let my kid in, we grease our palms.
Everyone has a price.
Yeah. It is that way. Like Sweden, it's not the rich and poor divide is not that bad. It's nowhere near that bad, right? Like so.
So then, are you saying the root problem is the divide, the rich and the poor?
It has a lot of things to do, but that's one of the causes as well. That's how you get these groups start to get like ossified, like to get more exclusive and more isolated from each other, and then in doing so, they basically take monopoly of like the best paths of everything, the best opportunities of everything, the best institutions, right? It naturally goes to them.
Like in the future, when Bernie Sanders wins.
What a bold fucking quote on that. Holy shit.
But if he wins and say school is free, do you think that'll help?
I don't think. Okay, in practice, in theory, it would help. Just if you're taking the theory like, oh, it evens the playing ground a lot more for people, right? The people that couldn't afford it, they can afford it.
But the elite are still going to have a huge upper hand.
Right. But also, like, if you look at the practicalities of some of it, it's like, okay, is free college really is college really the problem? Are people's lives going to shit in America just because they can't get into college, right? And then you're thinking about it. Some of these people, they take out student loans, they go to college, but they just come out with like no jobs or whatever, right?
But
they got big loans and
shit. The crushing debt is a huge issue.
But like, what is the play here, right? If you're making college free, then people are going into college and coming out and they still can't better themselves. Like the problem is not exclusively just in the colleges, right? If you make it free, sure, you solve a lot of problems, but there's still some big gaping problems there.
Yeah, it's just gonna put qualifications higher too, or requirements.
With any as you say, like solution, you solve some problems, but there are going to be other problems, and then some inherently sometimes you create new problems, right?
Yeah,
and that's what happens when you solve one problem. You can create other problems.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Fucking, if they make it free, they make it free. Then just I don't.
They'd get a huge influx of
How would
people
international students, would their price go up? Because like,
I would think so.
I would think, yeah, you're international I don't know, but you know the way Germany does it. Even if you're an international student going to Germany, it's like free for you.
oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. German post secondary is basically free for all German citizens and also for students, foreign students that go over there to study. I think it's more or less free.
Well, they wanted more people to move in, right? Is that the main idea behind that?
I don't know if it's they just wanted more people to move in, but they want to attract like the best talent. I guess that's their overall goal, and they're saying they're probably thinking, hey, let's just make this shit free for everybody, and then I don't know, the best will come or the most poorest will come.
Well, the states currently they're kind of just being like, yeah, we're good on our own. We're not taking others.
Yeah, well, the states are fucking broke, right? Germany's not broke. That's the difference. Germany's not broke. They at least have something going on for them. Instead of just everybody walking around with arts degrees, they have like over 60-70% of them are in like polytechnic schools.
Yeah, the science
right?
and technology.
And it's specific vocational education and training to basically graduate, and then you can work for BMW or fucking Haagen-Dazs or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Right?
Imagine
like
BMW.
Well, either one really. I don't know which one I choose.
They make a Haagen-Dazs BMW crossover car.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I don't know how that worked though.
No, something's got to give. Make the bumper out of chocolate.
Then it's definitely gonna give.
The integrity.
No, but yeah, this is the way that Germany's set up. Yeah, for them, there's no like inflation of student costs, right? There's no like this massive tuition problem that they have to deal with. Probably it's just set up differently. Like if you're gonna make the U.S. all the colleges free from day one, I bet you some shit's gonna burn right off the bat, right? Because it's just such a huge change. You gotta account for that. Such a big country makes such a huge change.
Would they be able to do that if they were to suddenly want to make school free, or would they just have to like gradually decrease the price?
Fucking I don't know. That is the skeptic in me says that they'll have to just gradually decrease the price. But like I'm trying to think, if they made it all free right off the bat, that means what? Like, what about are you also gonna forgive the student loans of all the other kids?
I was just thinking about that too, because like I think a large majority of people are in debt, with a large portion being student loans, because schooling is so stupidly expensive.
Yeah, like bringing down the student loans. Yeah, over time the schools should get less gougey, less cheap, but
they can't just get rid of the current student loan debts.
Yeah, if you think about it, like fucking, if they got rid of everybody's student loans, I don't know what. I don't exactly. I just see it as being like a big, huge crash.
Yeah.
At least in those, because
there's no way they could do that.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of ways where they could come out of that without it looking like fucking everything's burning, and cars are flipped over. But I don't know.
Be like that meme. It's like, it's nice here.
Who knows though? Maybe it'll work. Maybe it's just a wolf. It's just fucking the doomsayer mentality everybody has. Maybe they're like, oh, it's gonna end if he forgives all the student debt. What happens if he does, and all of a sudden everything's great or some shit? I don't know.
I would be super surprised.
Then everybody should get rid of all fucking student loans.
Yeah. Can they get rid of my mortgage while they're at it?
Oh yeah, mortgage. Yeah. Yeah. Can you fuck the bank? Tell them to get a haircut and I get a house, right?
Just get rid of currency altogether.
Oh, dude, that would be. I would have such an easy.
Everything would be on fire.
We are moving way past.
Just some guy just comes up to my door. Hey, you want to join my revolution? No. What the fuck do I look at? Oh, your mortgage will be forbidden. Will be forgiven. Give me my gun.
I'd sign up.
Fuck yeah! What do you have to lose except your life or whatever?
My mortgage is more than my life's worth.
Yeah. It's a chance for you to escape the modern bondage of servitude, right? You worked for your house.
Still working for my house.
Yeah, well, the good thing, well, at least the house, you get a house. A student loan is you get literally nothing.
Yeah, you get a fancy piece of paper that's hopefully you could get a job with it.
You go for a job interview. Oh, what'd you take? Oh, I'm a classical dance major.
Yeah, arts. That one's a tough one.
But yeah, that's what they're saying too. Like, oh, the tuition is inflated because everybody's too many people are taking shit like non-STEM stuff like arts, classical, Greek Roman history or whatever, and
English lit.
Yeah, and then they go out to try to find a job and nobody wants that shit, right? And then
If school is free, I would totally go back for philosophy. I thought that.
Oh, definitely.
I'd take
That would
tons
be
of
great.
crap.
Yeah. That's the thing. You make school free. Everybody, if they have the chance to do it and they have the time to do it, fucking yeah, everybody will go back.
Yeah, I would take.
I'd
night
take
classes.
everything.
I
would
would.
take night
Night class,
classes.
no problem. The
Yeah.
one thing keeping me away is the fucking money and shit.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to pay money.
The time too, but
And-
like you take night classes, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm working and school is free, I would totally just go night classes, take philosophy, and learn about gangs and stuff. And
Learn about gangs.
In philosophy.
oh, there was a class
Gang philosophy.
before my remote sensing class, or it was.
Imagine
one of
it's
my
the same
engineering
class. It's like remote sensing, but the new module for this month is gang philosophy.
But like just before my class, the teacher was talking about philosophy, and I would just like sneak into the class. It was really interesting talk. They talk about like honors among thieves and like just like the brotherhood of gangs.
No, the Brotherhood of Thieves.
Just the philosophy
Yeah.
of it. It's interesting. It's
That-
like it's all about tribal, like what we were talking
Yeah.
about before, but in like the criminal realm.
Ooh, maybe you should do like a undercover expose story. Like for like 6 months, you go and become a fucking crackhead, and then get so dependent on crack that you start stealing shit.
But what
and
if the government-
prostituting your body, and then you come back, and we'll have a really good episode to record.
Just one episode.
The
6
problem
months.
is-
We don't do a weekly check-in or anything, or monthly even.
Problem is government shutdowns. Where I'm gonna get my money.
The fuck are you talking about? Government shutdown?
Well, that was the biggest issue for U.S., right? Like these undercover people.
Oh, you're talking about the no. You're not an informant. You're
We're
just,
talking about you just starting
Yeah.
to do crack. Sell everything you own and do crack. That's the plan.
Well, there's another article
For one
that talks about
episode.
how addiction is also like in your head. So then that'd be another study. I
Yeah,
guess.
and then that could be a double episode header. We'll talk about addiction, your addiction that you'll get from crack, and also the life of crime that you led for the 6 months that you were addicted to crack. This will be a groundbreaking episode, my friend.
We might even get 200 views.
Oh my god! You know what? Yes, sacrifice your life for the podcast. I
like
expect nothing less.
they'll talk about like willpower, and usually it's in conjunction with addiction, right? Like people who like smoke cigarettes and like the willpower to like not smoke or stop smoking or even like drugs and stuff. And before, like there was a study. It's the famous one is the marshmallow test, where they give like these children marshmallow, and the test was like, oh, if you could sit here for 1 minute and not eat that marshmallow, the examiner will come back with 2 marshmallows as your reward. And they found that these students would like some could like avoid it, and some would just eat it. They just couldn't resist, right? And then they would track these kids like throughout their lives, like 10 years later, and see how they do like on tests and like their careers and stuff, and try to see if there's a pattern. And this all is about willpower. Anyways,
Thought it was like, how much can one marshmallow change a kid's life?
I suck your dick for that marshmallow.
and they found that like, well, one is the test is kind of flawed, but the idea of willpower is also based on your impulse, like how much of your impulse of that thing affects you. So for example, like if someone smokes but they're not really into smoking, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna quit, it doesn't take them that much willpower to not smoke, because smoking wasn't that big of a factor. But if someone really enjoys smoking, then it takes more willpower for them to stop, right? So they found that the impulse is also a relation to how good your willpower is. So if you're, say, addicted to chocolate, the best thing to do is to hide the chocolate. That way you don't need that willpower to hold you back. Whereas if it's always in front of you, then
Well, it's just
harder.
removing yourself from the situation.
Yeah, it's removing yourself from the situation, so the impulse is not so strong.
This sounds like a stupid study.
It's just
There's
like,
so many like parameters that come into play. mainly based on the individual.
It
itself.
is, and I don't think willpower could just be so easily distilled into that either, right?
How did
It's
they
just,
get the funding for this? The kids they studied
Brian,
for 10
Brian
years.
gave them the money.
It's like one marshmallow versus two. It's like, what if the kid's like, oh, I don't like
10 years later,
marshmallows.
for 10 years of the kid's life.
Well,
it's
this guy's got so good willpower.
yeah.
Can you
yeah.
imagine
Green Lantern.
being that kid and you're like, that one decision has affected you so far
Yeah, well,
in
what-
advance that you had no idea?
What if
would've been trapped.
what if it give you the results like, oh, one of the kids, he turned out to be a super big asshole. He just took all the marshmallows, no matter what, when he was a kid. Now he's a Wall Street executive. Fucking it served him well. That lesson of him taking the marshmallows, yeah, now it's money. Boom.
Now-
he's a billionaire. He's making billions upon billions.
Now they study kids, they like put bags of marshmallow and they like examine you and it's like, oh shit.
And then
Get
parents
that
are giving
kid.
their kids like bags of marshmallows.
Here, take it from your fellow children. Be like that guy. Be like Stan in Wall Street.
What if that guy became Trump? What if...
Maybe that's how he'll be like, yeah, I took the marshmallows. I did the marshmallows. It was a good test. I was a good kid. I had all the marshmallows.
It's a
I had
bit
the
of a
best
burnt
marshmallows.
marshmallow.
I built that wall for that marshmallow.
What the fuck was that?
I just like to use the wall.
Which accent was that?
You sound like Lindsey Graham right there. I like to build that wall. You don't know who Trump is.
No,
I've heard of him. I never seen him
No,
talk.
he's my neighbor over there.
He's that southern guy, right?
You want to build that fence between our property lines?
I'd like to build that wall.
Actually, speaking about conspiracies.
That's
Oh, I thought
not
that
a
was going to lead into
conspiracy.
the whole Senate
Alright, so
thing,
today
but okay.
is Pi Day.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Like 314.
All right, your
But-
favorite day.
But if you look at the digits of pi, it's the first 6 is 314159, right? And
Yeah.
today is 31419.
Oh
It's
Jesus!
very close
fucking
to
Christ.
the digits of pi.
I hope you
So...
I hope you obsess over this for the rest of your life. I hope it'll be funny just seeing you like 30 years from now with your hair just disheveled, just walking up.
Did you go
rags.
crazy during like 2015?
Yeah.
No,
He
I
just
think-
goes like, he's like, there'll never be another day like in 2019 with the digit of pi. You're like scratching yourself till you got sores on your face. But you do know meth. This is you completely sober. You'll never get a day of pi as perfect
was
as
that
before.
actually leading into something else that you...
Well, I'm just saying, conspiracies are very enjoyable. Like when you let your mind just like swim in conspiracy.
But how is it a conspiracy? It's just pi.
Well, first of all, I'm crossing out the 5, right? Because it's
Yeah.
3.14,
No, but
159.
that's- what?
Like I'm trying to compare. Like, oh look, they're very
How's it a
similar to
conspiracy,
the.
though? What's the conspiracy? The pies are taking over?
Oh,
What?
exposed. B money exposed.
Well, I mean, if I let my mind indulge, it could be a conspiracy. But what I'm saying
How?
is like,
How? Explain that. Yeah,
Well, I
you
don't
know
want
what?
my
Let's
mind
put
to
your
indulge.
feet over the fire. How is that a conspiracy? Crickets. Fucking crickets. Alright, proceed.
Have you seen the movie? It's an old movie starring Jim Carrey when he was trying to do like a horror thriller type movie. It's like the number 23.
Yeah.
And all the numbers in his
that
life
was
is connected
a
to the
good
number
movie.
23.
That was a good movie.
Of
I
course
like
you'd
that
say
one.
that.
But what's the implication? Even if it is all related to 23, it's like, okay, so how does that change your life?
But he wrote the book, right?
Who? Jim Carrey?
Jim
wrote the
Carrey.
book?
Jim Carrey wrote the book to himself. And the reason everything matches is because he was the author.
But how does that change anything in his life if he just, played ignorant
Wait,
to
you
it?
remember the
that's
movie?
Very vaguely.
Oh, okay. So like Jim Carrey, he was haunted by the number 23. Like he read this book, and then everything about this book is coming true to him. And
This
it's
is
like-
really sounding a lot
and then-
similar to you,
And
right?
then at the end of the book, he found out like he murders his wife or whatever, right? And then he was afraid that he was gonna murder his wife, right? But then
But he is him, so he already did murder his
no, like well, in the movie, at this point you didn't figure that out. Then down the road, you found out that he was the author of his own book.
So did he kill his ex-wife?
He killed his ex-wife, yeah. So then what happened is he killed himself, but he tried to kill himself, but then he like knocked himself unconscious and had amnesia, and then he reset his life, and then he met a new wife, and then he started his old life again. And then later he got to the bookstore and found his own book, and then he started reading, and then
But
going
still,
crazy
he
again.
played ignorant to it, like, oh, that's just a
yeah,
coincidence.
this is.
like,
I'm convinced this is
how
you.
would you be afraid you're gonna kill your own wife? Like, oh god, it's the number 23.
This is you, but sans the wives, and it's just you and the number pi. and this date, and you will end up.
Well, in
Just-
the educational world, there's a controversy with pi.
Oh god. Okay, yeah. Enlighten us, because I'm not familiar.
Okay, so
with it.
pi is the ratio between the circumference of a circle and its diameter.
Yeah, for
right?
all you non-math people out there,
Okay, circumference is the
non-circle
distance around the circle, and
Uh-huh.
diameter is the distance of half a circle from one point to the other,
people.
right? But the thing is, diameter isn't a fundamental measurement. The radius is, right? Because you're taking from the center to
Yeah.
the point. So the diameter you could represent as 2r, like 2 times the radius, right? So the thing is, pi is the ratio between the circumference and the diameter. But because the diameter you can represent as 2 of a radius, then we should call it tau, because tau would be the
Oh god. Okay, so
ratio
wait.
of the circumference and the and the radius.
Okay.
Right.
I totally lost. What were we
Okay,
talking
so-
about again?
So like when
This is the
in
education
high
part
school
again.
there's a
What's the
math-
controversy? What's the controversy?
Well, the controversy is, why are we using pi when we should be using tau? Because tau, we use the fundamental, like the smallest, like the fundamental increments.
Okay.
Like every other formula, if you look at it, it's always the fundamental formula,
Okay.
right? But pi, it's not, and because of that, it makes other equations a little bit more complicated than they should be. Like for example, like
No, it's okay.
in high school we learned trigonometry, and there's a unit called the unit circle, right? So you know how like you have like 0, pi, then 3/4 pi, and then like 2 pi. Like a full circle is 2 pi, right? Well, what if you represent 2 pi as tau, then it makes the circle so much easier. It'd be 0, half a tau, or 0, quarter tau, half a tau, and then tau, right? Rather than 0. What was it?
I'm just gonna say I'm probably just gonna cut out this entire fucking part. No, I'll leave it in.
No, Let's go with this,
it
professor.
simplifies math.
The thing is, we don't got any mathematicians here that
He's
I know
teaching people all about math and.
of. So
what
I don't,
we talked
I don't know
earlier,
if
too.
we'll be able to answer
Yeah,
your
that's it.
question whether tau or pi is the better representation of this shit.
Tau would simplify, I guess, high school math. It would make it a lot easier.
Right.
It would make it more like intuitive, right? Like for example, if you're going a quarter of a circle, then it's just quarter tau, right? Versus what it is now.
I don't think it makes it that much easier, really.
No.
Well,
I mean, your
well-
end result, anyways, is still
Well,
gonna be
like
the same.
because half a circle is pi, right?
Yeah.
Then what's a
That's
quarter
it.
of a circle?
But why would math? They're learning fractions, anyways. It's fine. Kids can deal with it.
And plus, when
Parents
you're
are gonna
when
pay
you
for
when you have to
college
convert to
anyways.
like radians from degrees, you gotta use pi anyways.
Right, but you can use tau too. You don't have to use pi.
Okay, why don't you start this revolution then?
They are. There is a tau revolution going on. So people who are selling Pi Day, some people wait for Tau Day, which is in June, because it would be
Holy-
double of pi, so it would be like June 26th
Wow,
or 28th. Sorry.
this actually means a lot to some people living on this earth.
But pi sounds so much cooler.
Yeah, and you get pi.
Well, no, it
like-
only sounds cool because you heard it a lot.
Well, no,
Well, I
because
like
you
If,
can
you,
pi.
get.
if
you can
people
get
say
pi.
Tau enough,
Tau
No, no,
is
no,
a
no, no,
dessert.
no, no, dude. You don't on pi on Pi Day. People also give out pies and shit.
Yeah, they eat
yeah,
pies.
Blaze Pizza has a deal. on
Yeah,
Pi.
exactly. Who the fuck gives out anything on Tau Day?
If we make the movement,
What would you give out on Tau Day?
you still give it Pi.
No,
What?
it wouldn't make
No.
sense because the pie people were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And everybody, no, not even the pie people were like, "We already have Pie Day. What the fuck's your
Are
day?"
they gonna give 2 pies?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, what's the difference? And then, and then you start explaining. Oh, but you see, there's a controversy between pie.
Just
and
give me
then
my
people are like,
pie.
what the fuck, man?
If you
Oh
had 2
god,
pies, I'd be okay with it.
this was a deep rabbit hole we went into. Okay, I bet there's at least one person out there. I don't know. Maybe Phil's listening, and he'll be like, "Oh fuck, he's just jerking off to this right now."
Oh man, shout out to your friend Phil or whatever.
Oh fuck, man. We went to Vegas for our friend's bachelor party. We fucking just bantered for like 7 hours. That's
7
that
hours.
That was your
5
dream, though.
hours.
That was
it was
like
good. I like banting.
we were
Not about fucking pie and tau and shit like that. but other things.
You know, they have
It
like
didn't
strip
get
clubs you go to. And
Yeah.
7 hours of just.
No, this was
Okay.
after we were done the day. It was already like.
It was near the end of
It was the
event.
AM, so
Yeah,
we just.
we were gonna fly the next day.
Yeah, that's Jason.
Okay.
It was winding down. you know.
Yeah, Jason, we're
Yeah,
winding
who
down.
needs sleep?
Oh God, Brian, I think you need a spin-off cast too, where you just talk about this.
Would you be upset if that got like way more successful than
No,
this?
I'd be like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Well, my spin-off cast, I would definitely.
It's gonna be an education channel.
Oh,
No, I
I-
would.
you
I would
know.
go with conspiracies. I would like.
Math conspiracy.
I would just go. I would just go with the crazy
I
conspiracy.
take the
one.
fringe of both worlds and I put them together.
Well, that way,
And I
I-
get the fringe of the fringe.
That way, I don't need a fact check because they're all conspiracy anyways.
Well-
You can't disprove what I'm saying.
Yeah, but our stuff is just literally crap, and we get fact checked apparently.
Well, we're trying to sound correct.
No,
We're
I'm
conspiracy.
I'm not trying to.
No, especially your shit. If it's a math conspiracy, yeah, you're gonna get wrecked hard. Some fucking mathematician from MIT will be like, by some chance listens one day. He's like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" I'm gonna have to make an example out of him. But it's a good thing because you'll be famous after that. Humiliated but famous.
But the problem is, I wouldn't get on YouTube because YouTube they're striking on fake news now, or like any channel
It's like
that spreads.
vaccines.
Oh
rumors.
yeah, you'd be
Like
the
fake
Alex
stuff.
Jones of math
You
conspiracy.
wouldn't. They wouldn't.
Yeah, like Alex Jones is all gone.
Yeah.
like they're shutting down channels.
If you could get to his popularity though with your math conspiracy show, holy.
Well,
man.
even like anti-vaccines, like any channel that talks about it, they'll always have like links that goes to like a Wikipedia page that talks about vaccines and stuff. So like, it's hard to push your agenda now.
I think Amazon did something similar where they're taking down books and stuff that promote anti-vaxxers.
You know
and
what?
stuff.
Yeah, you know what? If your agenda,
think-
if
I
your
think they
agenda's
should.
like a load of shit, I think they should take that shit off. If your agenda's a load of shit. If you're
Well,
just telling people not to
well,
get vaccinated, fucking yeah, take that
It's-
shit off.
It's a public harm. I think in Italy they made a rule.
They banned it. They banned kids that did not get vaccine. They banned them from school. You
From
can't go to
school,
school.
yeah. You
That's
have
a good
to
call.
prove. It's a prerequisite, you could say.
Yeah.
To get into
Yeah, it
kindergarten.
should be. I mean, look at how fast it spread in certain parts of the world.
Have you seen those posts where anti-vaxxer family would go online, would go on Twitter and be like, "Oh, there's like a measles outbreak in my area. Does anybody know what's a good way to like avoid the measles?" And then people would just
Yeah.
respond like, "Yeah, vaccination, you stupid cocksucker."
That's what kind of made me happy when I saw I think it was a Reddit thing where it's like a guy just turned 18 and the first thing he did was get vaccinated.
all the vaccinations,
Yeah.
like all.
Oh wait, that's the kid, right? Like he spoke.
Yeah, his
in
like
the-
parents and stuff were like heavy
His
anti-vaxxers.
parent was, and then he got vaccinated, and he was on like Congress
Basically,
or
like
something.
blasphemy in his family.
He was a very smart kid.
Well, it's like yeah. That's kind of sad. Where it's like, oh yeah, you know what? You're really smart because you went to go and got all your vaccination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're recognizing the norm, right? We're recognizing, hey, you did your due diligence.
Hey,
Well,
you're
it's good on
vaccinated.
him.
You know, like that would be not where you want to be in society, where it's like people go, "Hey, you're vaccinated."
But to give him
If it
the
reaches
benefit
that
of the doubt,
point-
he came from a world where he was not vaccinated.
No, I know, but if all of a sudden in society is like the norm is like when you say hi to someone and then you get to talking and then that's a conversation piece. Like, oh, have you been vaccinated before? No, I haven't. Oh, yeah.
What if
That
they-
is when you're fucked. Like people are just have like leprosy on the streets.
You know what we should have done? Create an app that detects non-vaxxers.
Oh
That
shit! How are you gonna
sounds
do
that-
that?
like a
that
ton of
would've
legal
sold-
issues.
What? No, that everyone's gonna download them because they don't want their kids to be near.
Well, how do you know
how do you
who's the
check?
non-vaxxer?
Well,
Ugh.
Go into like personal information.
well, we'll figure that out.
No,
We'll
that's
figure it out.
that's the main thing. You gotta figure like, okay, how do you tell who got vaccinated, who didn't get vaccinated?
You can get like a blood test from everywhere.
This is where your American psycho tendencies come out because you just be like, yeah, well, I don't know, just get the hospital
Well,
records.
I'm just saying, if we have created it and it works, we would get a lot of downloads. We would get
Okay, here's how we
recognized.
could do it actually. We get everyone's like medical files uploaded into a server, and then anyone can access anyone's.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
how
yeah,
you-
you're right. Then we can then we can like georeference them and say like, oh, they're not in the database of the people who got vaccinated, and then therefore we just label them as non-vaxxers. And then if they want to dispute it, then they just prove to us.
Guess we'll just dive
and then
right
we'll just
into
update
that.
the database.
Jesus Christ.
Like a lot
dude,
of healthcare
dude,
computers
there's
are
a
very
privacy issue.
old.
Dude, you're missing the big fucking elephant in the room. No one will ever do that. That's the whole. That's the whole
No one
point.
wants anyone looking. Like, would you want people looking at your records?
He would say yes.
If it would protect me.
Ah, I see you got your colonoscopy yesterday. How'd that go?
Well, I say he's loaded with fucking AIDS, Brian.
Well, see, this is where our
I
app,
downloaded your colonoscopy video. It's looking no good.
Holy shit!
this
What
is
do you
where our
eat
app
every
has
day?
spin-offs, right? First is like non-vaccination. The next would be STDs for partners.
No.
And then we will like link with like Tinder and like.
You'll never
Bumble.
get any of that. This is what kind of world is this? I don't. You know, I don't even think they have that in North Korea. I think, like, I bet they don't even. They're probably like, no, I like my privacy a little bit too much. I don't want everybody.
Well, in China they have WeChat and.
Yeah, but
Privacy
you don't
is-
share your medical records with each other. That's what I'm saying. Like it's at that level where even like a mass data collecting society doesn't even want to have that public. That's what they. There's no way. Good luck having it here, though.
Oh, that'd
know,
be fun though.
I wonder if what's the guy's name? Brooker, the guy who creates Black Mirror. If he listens to this,
No,
that'd be
he
a good
doesn't.
episode. That'd be a good episode.
Because if he did, it would be a massive waste of time for him.
No, it's gonna be an episode where everyone's like, "Oh, have you seen the the Vaxxer episode?"
Yeah, but
They create
that's
an
just it's so as a concept. It's so like it's just so fucking boring because at the end it's just a privacy concept again, right? That's at the end of it. It's just privacy.
Well, a lot of his episodes deals with the same issue over and over.
Yeah, but how many times? Well, if you come up with something new, it's like, oh, the next Black Mirror. Oh yeah, everybody has their medical records on public. At some point, people would be like, okay, so.
Well, it's not gonna be like, if you cross that line, it's gonna be like, oh, why not have more information?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Well,
oh, here's his bank information.
it's
and-
like it loses its like shock value too, right? In Black Mirror, it got
yeah,
popular
Black
because of
Mirror.
these things. Oh, it really makes it.
Well, they
think
still
about
had
these things.
controversy over the Bandersnatch one that they released.
The
What's
Bandersnatch.
the controversy?
Well, mainly it was like I think people are very split. It seems on if they liked it or not, and a lot of it fell under the actor that he played the programmer, the blonde guy that was like smoking and jumped off.
Like the teacher.
Well, I guess
like
there's
the-
spoilers here, but
The teacher, like the idol, like the
the
mentor.
guy that was doing the drugs
Well,
and stuff. And
it's not really a spoiler because there's another scene where he comes back to his room and like, "Hey, I'm good."
Well, yeah, there's like splits.
They could
It's
play it off as
It's a
if it
choose
was
your own
a dream.
adventure thing, but it's like
Right.
I think people for some reason didn't like him. I don't know the details.
I thought
I
he
didn't
was
find,
I thought
I
he
didn't mind
played
him
it
at
well.
all. Yeah,
I thought all the actors played it well. I think like the writing wasn't as purposeful just because of it, and it's just the nature of choose your own adventure.
yeah.
Like I don't think
know
choose
why
your own
people had-
adventure.
People had issues with that, but I don't know why.
You ever think are they gonna make another Choose Your Adventure movie?
I would hope so because I actually had fun with that, but people didn't like it.
I like the idea how they did research on it, where they're trying to find like what is the maximum time that a story can go without you choosing an option. Because they find out like, cause for example, like if it's like 30 minutes, you might put the controller away, and so if they ask you like, oh, pick now, and then you're like scrambling. So they found that like every 5 minutes they had to give you a choice or had to get you to choose something, so that you're always holding the remote, for example. So they were doing some research on that. They also found like for like in British, like there's a scene where he had tea and he's like pour tea on your computer. They found that the British would not pour tea on their computer, whereas if you're American, you often will pour tea on your computer. So they found these little local.
Oh, they're gonna data mine the hell out of it.
Yeah, they data mine little things like that too. So, you know, just because you're making a choice or filling in exams, they're not free. Like one of the biggest thing I find, like, because people don't use Facebook anymore, but when people did, people always post those shit posts where it's like, oh, go through this quiz and they'll tell you like what animal you are or what kind of spiritual.
Yeah.
That's just data mining, right? They just
Yeah, a
want
lot of them were
information.
asking questions that would be in like banking questions,
Yeah,
like security
they're also
questions.
security questions.
It's like-
Yeah.
Especially those stupid, oh, what's your like elf name or whatever?
Or your, like,
it's like,
porn
oh,
star
what's
name.
your yeah? It's like, oh, what's your mother's maiden name and crap like that. That would be typical questions for banks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's scams.
Yep.
But like, See, that's the thing is they should teach that in school.
They should
Right.
teach a lot of things in school that they don't.
They really should, yeah. Just how to not fall for scam. Well, like to spot when people are trying to get some from you.
So that's an easy question, or that's the easy part. What should they teach in school? But in school, there's a limited resource, right? So the thing is, they have to kick something out. So in order to make room for, say, like computer cybersecurity, what would you kick out? Like what subject in school would you toss out?
Well, just
I think it could be something fairly minor, like just add it onto. I don't
Add
know
it
if
on-
it's
if
common
you
in
had, like,
everything.
add
but-
on things.
well-
You have to take out something. You can't.
No, but like in that stupid comm class or whatever that you have to take.
Oh, communications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just put it in that and just
Yeah.
take out the stupid old
They should take
stuff.
out languages. Like languages don't make sense because we have Google Translate that does better.
What?
Languages isn't necessary. What? Unless you mean English.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about
Oh, you mean the foreign language?
unnative languages. Yeah, foreign.
I never had
languages.
to take any.
Some schools now forces you to take multiple foreign languages, like Spanish and like Mandarin, for
No,
example.
never had to
Force
take
you?
that.
I remember they just had to. They forced you. They forced us as a kid to take French in elementary.
I never
That's
had
it.
that.
Yeah, you had a weird case, but everyone else had to.
Yeah,
take
I had
the
French.
I only took French once in grade 7 as an option though, and that was optional.
You
so-
know, be good. Take out band. I don't see a point in
I
band.
never
No, well,
took
so
band
some
either.
people fucking like band. That's the whole thing. Like,
Yeah, those are the
They'll love,
optional
they'll
ones.
love
Like,
cybersecurity too.
well, no,
so-
like when they're that young, like I'm assuming when everybody has to take all the same shit and like everybody has to take band. I'm assuming this is when they're really young.
I
in
was talking about
elementary, right?
the comm one. It's like where they teach you about how to get a job and crap like that.
Yeah.
Like about
Like
Yeah.
they'll
housing
teach you
and stuff.
cybersecurity
And you'll
stuff.
be
I'll get
like,
onto
you'll be
that.
like, oh man, Andrew Yang is our president. We don't need no job. We got $1,000.
You still need a job. You still need but like, okay, well, you don't necessarily have to take shit out. Like the school constantly, if you think about what kids learn as a curriculum, it does update once it reaches.
But they
a
can't.
certain
They don't have teachers for everything, and they do have to take some stuff out because how would you add it to a timetable?
Well, it's how school has been constantly updating itself for like 100 years.
Slowly.
Well, it still updates itself, right? So you just add in cybersecurity there.
No, but they do take stuff out. I'm sure they.
Yeah, like people don't ride fucking horses as transportation anymore. They take that out, put in
I see
shit
what
about
you're
like
saying.
car
So
safety.
you're just saying like whatever subject become extinct. they'll
Yeah,
take out.
it'll just be there. Like you're not gonna have a whole population that's immune to all sorts of like fraud and theft, right? Fraud and theft comes at you from all angles. You can't teach your kids all of them. You teach them the basics. This one is like, oh, the new medium is online and whatever. You should. It'll be like in real life. You don't go with fucking strangers in the car. Well, you don't answer strange questions and surveys on the internet.
You know, it's funny because my friend, he works for a company and they have these emails that come to them, and if you click on the emails and you like click on the link,
Yeah,
they like catch you and they be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
take a course.
It's
It's like
some companies.
it's a phishing thing.
Yes, companies are. It's like a test for the employees, right?
It's a test for employees. Yeah, my buddy was
ridiculous.
like, my buddy's like, oh man, I thought that Halloween contest was real. Like he was
Yes,
so
no.
excited for it.
Some of these people, they're like.
We had ones that are like fakes from like Apple Store or something, like an Apple Store receipt or like, oh, you purchased this. It's like click here to like verify or whatever, and I have nothing Apple, so I'm like, what the hell? So I just deleted
Well,
it.
some people did. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe my
tons-
kids bought something on Apple and they click it. Oh, boom, you failed. You gotta take your IT security course again.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, fucking, you could do that whenever, man.
But yeah, it's just like quick and easy thing, so it doesn't even have to be like a full
Yeah, man.
course or.
You don't have to
anything
take
on
out like history or like fucking languages to do that shit. Or band. Oh my god. Can you imagine? It's like you're forcing band kids that actually want to be in band. You're like, no, you got to take cybersecurity now. But why? I want to make music. Fuck you, Brian.
That would
said
be.
so.
But think of it, like instead of band.
Oh,
camp-
by the way, kids, give me all your medical records.
Instead of band camp, we would just put them in a camp, like coding camp, and then we would get them to develop these apps. That
You motherfucker.
You're gonna get them to make the app to spy on everyone.
Dude, man, you gotta accept the fact that not everybody likes the same shit that you like. You can't just make people do these things. What if we had a government and leader of a guy that had the same ideas as you, but he's like, you know what? I really enjoy just eating shit from a guy's asshole. I want everyone to eat shit from a guy's asshole. We should have camps where people specifically attach their faces onto a sphincter of another man and let the feces flow in. I think I
Why
like
is our
that.
president a centipede? There's a
Crickets.
reference to
I know. Everybody knows the reference, and still there's crickets.
He thinks there's approval from people when they say that's a shit idea.
I like that. I've always looked at that.
See, I got support.
Dude, man, that you can't put
You
it.
know, I feel like that president would be the new, like, worst president.
Right, but you know, like you see, you can't just get everybody to put him in coding camps.
Do you think Trump will be the first president to not have white hair?
That's possible. But actually, you know what? I'm trying to think right off the top of my head right now. There are a whole bunch of presidents that never had white hair. John F. Kennedy didn't live long enough to have white hair. There's one president right
that's
there.
fair, that's fair.
Eisenhower didn't have hair, so there you are.
I'm sure
Debunked.
Trump
There you
actually
are.
has white hair, but it's just his
I think he
face
has.
is like
Yeah.
super.
But I don't feel like he's
pale.
gonna age as much as other presidents.
Ah, dude, he's
Well, he's
fucking-
already old, so.
Just dye his hair, whatever. I think you could have seen in some footage before when he didn't do anything to it. You can sometimes it looks like that has some.
Do you think he
streaks.
gets as stressed as other presidents?
No,
actually,
comparatively not. He's probably more stressed than when he was just being a real estate mogul.
But
Definitely,
he doesn't
more
feel the extent like of Obama, where you
No.
see the before and after presidency
he just-
pictures. It's just
he-
like he aged 20 years or
Went,
something.
he went,
When I was,
it's like his future self went back in time.
Yeah.
When I was working, I had a email from somebody, and he had this Excel sheet of Trump going to these golf courses, and like, he was asking me like, "Oh, do you have imagery of these golf courses so that we can track where Trump is, like, to verify whether he's going to these golf courses at these times?" And it was like very specific.
Well, what?
Wait, this was part of your job? What?
Well, no, I work for a company that does that type of stuff. We do
Ah.
aerial imagery, so we collect
Okay.
images, right? And for some reason, he expects that we live in this world where we're always constantly being watched by satellites, and there's always images. So he just wanted like these images that like were on these golf courses, because he's like, oh, we're trying to like expose Trump. And
What?
he gave me this
Okay.
Excel sheet, and he was like, oh yeah, do you have any pictures to support any of this? I'm like-
Jesus.
I'm like, oh, I don't think you're talking to the right company.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was a external request or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
external request.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
Not internal.
I saw. Yeah, that was.
We're not working for the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
that's what I was
like, what the
thinking too.
fuck is going on here? No, that some people just they have no lives. They really want to. Oh my god.
But yeah,
Like, what does it matter? Even if you had a picture of him at every single golf course, then what?
I don't know.
Does the revolution start then?
But when you're talking about people with no
He
lives,
lies on his golf score. That means he's not trustworthy as a president.
Look, he's been golfing this entire time rather than whatever the fuck he's supposed to be doing.
He went 2 over par on this hole.
well, maybe they just want to see if he's eligible for the PGA, I suppose.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yes.
But actually, talking about like no lives, there was this enthusiast, and he's a marathon enthusiast. So you would watch races and stuff, and he would, I guess, track these runners and stuff on GPS and things like that.
Oh,
And
shit,
He
that's
would
pretty
see
hardcore.
he would see like people's times on their watches and stuff, and collect this data. And I guess one of the runners had cheated, and she had ran a shorter route and stuff. And this enthusiast caught her because he like did the math and stuff, and it's like there's no way she could have finished this line because her watch had this time. And
Is it the one that actually won?
yeah, she won first or something, but then she
Yeah,
was
I
found
remember.
cheated.
Yeah, I
and,
remember hearing
and it
about
was the
this.
enthusiast marathon watcher.
Dude,
that-
there's always
that caught her.
go through life assuming there's some kind of enthusiast out there that will that'll be keeping a close eye and can either get you in trouble or bail you out. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you heard this story a while back. You know the Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or whatever. You don't
She
you know her?
sounds familiar.
Anyway, she's like the new hot news on everything. Anyways, there's this one picture, I forget what it was, but it was like a picture, and her critics were saying, oh, it was a naked picture of her, right? And oh, look at this, trying to denigrate her. Then somebody from wikifeet,
Okay.
Wait, is this the one
Wikifeet.
where it's just a picture of people's feet?
yeah, it's just wikifeet. Yeah, it's a site where it just shows people's feet, celebrities' feet. They gather
Did you
all
submit your
sorts
own
of
feet?
pictures. No, you don't submit your own fucking feet.
And I think it's used for celebrities.
Yeah, it's celebrity. They take all the pictures of celebrities' feet. They try and they put it on that site so you can look at it, right? Feet enthusiasts, foot fetishists, right? Anyway, one person on there came out to debunk that photo, that supposed naked photo of her, and he was basically saying, "Nope, this is not her because that's not her feet. This is her feet." Basically, just came out and it just destroyed her critics because he was placed at the exact right time to see that picture. Notice that it wasn't her feet in that picture.
Did Cortez like recognize him?
I don't know. I
say,
don't
like. Thank you for protecting me. And
how would you say that?
It's like mixed feelings.
Thank you.
like you bring him on stage and then you like.
What do you say?
Like, oh, you're at court. Exhibit A, the feet.
What do you say?
Exhibit
Like even if she was cheerful, I was like, thanks. You know what? As a favor to you, I will be wearing a lot more open-toed sandals and shit from now on, right? As a treat, as a special thank you to you.
All those summer days.
Right?
Paint those toenails.
Yeah, fucking like enthusiasts, man. Like they will come out and catch this shit.
Do you think the traffic of wikifeet got bigger?
Probably after that, yeah. But didn't you ever hear about that battle between 4chan and Shia LaBeouf?
No.
Did you ever hear of it?
No. I mean, 4chan's always been involved in anything.
Yeah. But they, like when people, well, it's basically when people get together and then it's a really large, I guess, community. And if you have like different people that happen to be a specialist in some sort of field, right? You can really do some crazy shit. I think the story was Shia LaBeouf was I forget what thing he was putting up. It was a flag or whatever, right? I think it may have been anti-Trump flag. So then what they wanted to do was they wanted to fuck with him, right? So he held up a flag at a certain location.
Sorry. Who wants to fuck with who?
4chan wants to fuck with Shia LaBeouf. So basically, Shia LaBeouf, he's got that like avant-garde sort of like artistic whatever thing going on, right? He likes to do these stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
His that project at that time was he just had it at an undisclosed location. It was just a flag that said, I don't know, like fuck Trump or something like that. Something
anti-Trump.
Something anti-something. And it was just flying in a location. He's like, I'm going to keep on flying this for the entire duration of whatever, his presidency or whatever, like forever. And then people on 4chan, basically, they went to the video feed, and this from the information they can glean from that video feed, they located where that flag was, and they stole it. So then he kept on moving to different locations to try to, like fucking fight back at them. Like, you're not going to take it this time. And every single time, like people on 4chan like somehow located the flag and fucking got it. And then one of the cases was the most crazy one because he had it where it was in a building, in a room. There's no landmarks or anything nearby at all.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, right. But basically, the guys on 4chan they triangulated it somehow to get into this specific area in one of these states. It's like, all right, whoever lives in one of these states, drive around where we think it is and just honk your horn. And then with the sound that we can hear in the video, we will triangulate where the flag location is based on.
Was it like a live feed of the flag?
It was a live feed of the flag the whole time,
okay.
right?
I kind of like this camaraderie.
So then, it's like, yeah, they got together just to fuck, like the common goal is just to fuck with this man, right? So then they actually did. Some guy. And actually, they found it like that. The guy went around honking the horn, and they had like sound specialists on that board that day. That was like, you know what? I can triangulate a fucking location based on like the sound, the delay. They did the calculation of the delay from when they honk and when they hear it on the live stream and all that shit. They found it again. That's the scary shit.
It is.
Yeah,
No,
but they're using their education. I wanted to say good use, but I don't know if that's a good use.
I think it's like
they
an
have
indication.
done it for good use before, though. I remember hearing of when there was like a picture or something of kids or something, or like these guys.
Yeah.
Maybe not kids, but they were like killing or drowning dogs or something messed up like
that. Yeah, they got together.
And they actually found the guys, and I don't know what they did to them, but
just basically, they probably gave them to the police at that point. There was one time where they actually located like an ISIS hideout as well. And they gave that information to like the U.S. military or whatever, just from like pictures and shit, and just like shit in the background when they take those pictures, and they fucking people. Oh, I've been there before. I can.
Yeah, I guess there's not enough recognition for 4chan for the good stuff they do, because they're always recognized for the bad things.
That hacker 4chan.
Who is this hacker 4chan?
No, like the point is like if you get a whole bunch of people concentrated on a goal that they all are willing to do it, you know, and there's a good chance you got people in there that are really skilled at specifically being able to accomplish that goal. A lot of times you have a good chance of getting something done.
Not say like a hive mind.
Yeah, if you have the hive mind, like everybody is all working towards one goal. Like it really works. It really works wonders when everybody's like committed to one thing.
Now imagine if they did it to do something absolutely revolutionary.
Which happens in history.
The Pi Day.
The pie. You could have your day in the sun, Brian.
He starts going on 4chan, building a community.
That will be your first and
All right,
only
guys.
No,
We're
your
gonna
first
create-
and only hurdle is
We're
to
gonna
get
create an app to find the anti-vaxxers, to rat them out. That would be the community I create, I guess.
Yeah. Go to a bunch of guys that want to stay anonymous online and tell them that you're...
We need all your information online, available to anyone at any time.
Well, I imagine the way they would do it is they hack the database in like health records, because like it is known that like a lot of these health services,
Right.
their IT is shit. They're
Right, and then you
they're
can use
archaic.
that information for your app, so it makes it easier for like the police services.
you do it for the app.
Yeah, for the
Right.
police to fucking find you.
Well, here's the thing. I would do it like in the TV series The Wire, which is about like gangs and cops, right?
Uh-huh.
And usually the gangsters who come with these ideas, they don't want to get involved, right? Because they don't want any connections to them.
Uh-huh.
So then I would find developers. There would be like my muscle. On the
Oh
sense,
my god!
right?
You know what? Instead of doing all that bullshit, I think you should just move to Baltimore and live there for 6 months as part of your undercover crack addict.
Start with that. We'll see how
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes.
Move to Baltimore first, and then just live live your life
Wait,
there
but
for a while.
The decision would be West Baltimore or East Baltimore. There's
Uh,
a few between the West and East.
Which one was the shitty one that The Wire took place?
Both were. Well,
Okay, so
they
both.
didn't depict either was shitty.
So
it was West and East.
For
just
6
had
months, stay in West Baltimore, and then for the other 6 months, stay in East Baltimore.
And then you could do 2 episodes.
Well, that's the problem.
yeah.
Once you pick one side, you can't just switch over.
Says who? Maybe you can be the first one that switches over.
I'll get shanked by the other side, because they would know what side. Once you like align with one side,
I don't think
they're not gonna accept you with open arms.
I don't think they're
It's not like an
murder-
application. You just like switch sides.
I don't think your life will be in danger of which side you pick necessarily.
You know what? Dealer's choice. You can go to whichever one.
Yeah. You pick west, east, flip a coin, go to the nearest crack den, buy the house right next to it, and just fucking chill there. And then tell us what you learned from then. You get to experience The Wire in real life. One of your favorite shows. I know that you like to quote a lot of the lines from that show on there. This is your Disney World. This is your Universal Studios.
I do find that like when you quote a show,
You could be like, this is where Omar got shot. Right?
Omar's coming.
Oh man, Omar's coming. This is where he got shot. And you start taking pictures and stuff.
The problem with liking a show that no one really watches is when you quote it, no one really gets
No,
it.
everybody watches it. Right? A lot of people watch The Wire. At least in our chat, everybody in there,
Well,
most
yeah,
people in
within
there
our friend
watched it.
group, but like in my workplace, no one knows.
Oh
what The
yeah,
Wire
okay,
is.
I see. So there's like,
like my volleyball team, no one knows The Wire. Like, it's not that common. People know
I
like
don't
Game of
watch it.
Thrones.
What are
people
you?
know, like-
What are you doing at work? Are you just going around like the fucking lunch area and yelling like, "Ain't no thanks"? Right?
Well,
Because I guarantee you, even people that watch The Wire, they'll be like, "What the?" Fuck?
I use the word youngin a lot. I'll be like, yeah,
I
these
see.
youngins.
I see.
But that's not as specifically the Wire thing. That's
That
actual-
wasn't a Wire thing, but it's a slang that they use commonly.
It's a slang.
But you don't. Not
The
many
young
people
kids.
use. Not many people use the.
I've been using
the
slang,
youngins.
popular slang that some of these young kids have been using around, and people don't seem to be.
It's good. It's good he knows this. It'll help him in the crack dens.
You're gonna be a chameleon, man. You'll fit right into Baltimore.
Well, like
How are you youngins doing?
That's usually what I do.
Ain't no thing, Strang. She. Oh my god! I can't wait to see that GoPro video of him just fucking get shot like 12 times. Ain't no boom, boom, boom. That. Now to only put that on a podcast. Dude, yeah, okay. This is a good idea. You should have like a little vacation, the Wire tourist vacation to Baltimore. Would you, if the option ever became available, would you take it?
To go to Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's close to DC, like Maryland and everything.
Oh, you would go to Maryland. What if it was just...
Baltimore's in... Isn't it in Maryland?
Yeah, it's in Baltimore.
In Maryland, yeah.
But like... Okay, so and then you visit all the set, the locations,
the grounds,
yeah.
Well, like the character Avon, he's a real person.
Avon Barksdale.
Yeah, Avon Barksdale.
Like,
yeah, he's a real person. Like
okay, so yeah,
the writer, because the writer is a police, right? He's a police, and he arrested a bunch of them. Like one of the actors, her name is Felicia. She played a character named Snoop.
Yeah, I remember her.
And the writer was the guy who arrested her. And then when she got off parole or whatever, he's like, "Oh, you should come and act." And then after the show was over, she got arrested again.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you can go visit her in prison. That would be like.
Well, I think she's out now. She like complied with what she got caught for.
So her parole house would be on like in the tour package. You could have like lunch at her parole house.
She's pretty chill, it seems.
Oh yeah.
Well, because like her character in real life is the same character in the show.
Yeah, she just played herself in the show.
She just played herself in the show. Yeah, she was the character already.
Yeah, so you can chill with her for like the day, like have a luncheon with her.
Yeah, I would like do an interview.
Be like
bring it back to this podcast. It'd
Youngin.
It'd be like an Interpol thing.
Just throw the N-word everywhere you walk. Just exactly. Just don't pull any punches. Everywhere you go, just yell the N-word.
Actually, in Hearthstone, there's a new card coming out for the new set called Forbidden Word. They could totally replace it with the N-word because that's basically a forbidden word. Most people can't say it. Right?
How to racially charge a trading card game? Not even trading card game online. Oh god. All right. Back to just one more thing. Hey, so Avon Barks is a real guy. Would you want to go and get his autograph or anything? Take a selfie with him?
Like with the real guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still involved in?
He's old. No, he's
retired.
Yeah, I don't think he's in the game.
Oh, but is he in jail or is he a free man?
He's a free man. He's an old guy though. Okay. He's like a senior now.
See, you know what is actually much more easier? If instead of making an app where everybody's private medical information is somehow available, you can actually set up something real like
no.
The Wire tours.
I wouldn't make that information available. That would be a crime.
No,
all it would do is it would like detect if someone was non-vaccinated.
Yeah, and in doing so, you would need access to those records.
Yeah, I would have those records in a database that we would secure. Over,
outside of
by having that,
it's already illegal.
It's already illegal.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like,
but
it's still
I wouldn't want to make it more illegal by sharing it with everyone else.
Well, you're in definition, you're sharing it in that app. This guy's not vaccinated.
You're sharing indirectly.
Still, you're sharing people's medical records in that app. I'm saying instead of doing something batshit impossible as that, you can do something that's really actually quite plausible. You can set up the Wire vacation tours.
What if Alberta, what if the health services done it? Can they do it? Is there data?
I'm gonna say no.
No, still probably not because the health services doesn't decide that either.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Who's the guy that we need to talk to?
Well, the fucking government.
Yeah, I think there's huge legal issues with this.
The government decides that shit. The health, they can only give you your information to you and whoever you designate. They can't just say, hey, yeah, let's do this.
I guess this idea kind of spawns with China, right? Because doesn't China have an app, or they're developing an app to find people who are in debt?
Yeah, well, it's not exactly like that. It's if you have strikes against you, then you kind of show up. It's like their 21st century version of It's like a credit report,
scores.
almost. Credit scores.
Right.
It is kind of like credit scores.
But
And
if they
it's-
had a vaccine problem, wouldn't they have done that too? Wouldn't they create something to like identify people who?
No, because
Alright.
that's working it ass backwards, right? Like there would be no vaccine problem there because everybody would be mandatory to get vaccines. You can't
Right.
opt out of it,
Right.
right? So it kind of works. But I don't know why you keep on going away from the fucking The Wire vacation
sorry.
package. All right, man. And because look, you can get in contact with Avon Barksdale. You get in contact with fucking Snoop.
Yeah.
You can even get Idris Elba to come and do a cameo as Stringer Bell. Ain't no thang, Strang. Right?
I don't know. He'd be expensive. Like I don't know if he will come back.
Forget him first, but you get in
He's-
contact with the other
he's-
guys.
Cause isn't he like GQ's like?
Oh yeah, he won't give a
most
shit about what you're
attractive
doing.
guy
Dude.
now? Like,
But
he's-
you can
he's
go,
number
you,
one right
you
now,
can go to
right?
Baltimore. You can get the other. You can get in contact with the other guys. You can set up the tour. You know, and it'll be like the Hollywood bus that shows up at the studios and stuff.
Yeah.
Except it'll be a bulletproof bus that drives through Baltimore.
Sadly, one of my favorite characters, Prop Joe, Proposition.
Oh,
Joe,
Prop Joe.
he passed away.
Yeah, fuck. Well, you can have one of the tours go to his funeral.
I've never watched the show,
His
so I don't know what's going on.
He's overweight.
He's a fat guy.
He's overweight,
Okay.
bad, but he loves to make deals. And
Propositions.
Propositions.
That's why they
That's
call
the
him
name.
Prop
Yeah,
Joe.
okay,
Yeah.
I
I got a
it.
proposition for you.
Yeah, some names don't make sense though. Like Slim Charles.
No, that makes
But
sense.
there's
Why?
ironic
How?
names.
Cause fucking it's just like Biggie Smalls,
I don't understand. You would have to explain this to me.
Slim Charles.
Not small.
He doesn't have to be slim. He doesn't have to.
It's like when you see the big guy and his nickname is Tiny. You
like.
know, it's ironic.
Well, that was the issue with Dodo, right? Tiny. He was this mountain giant.
Yeah, so that's
I don't think that's an issue. Really.
Slim Charles. That's.
He's
Don't
not
tell me.
slim.
You see, you'd be bad as a cop too because. Fuck! I could have sworn Slim Charles was supposed to be slim.
That's not the guy.
I trusted everyone.
Actually, that was a good episode in South Park where they found this black person living in a house and they're all like white cops and they're like, oh, we're gonna fuck this guy up, and they like drove to the house. And then they see Michael Jackson come out,
Yeah.
but he wasn't black. He was,
Yeah,
his
yeah,
face is white, and he's like, "Oh fuck, we made a mistake." And then like they started doing detective work and found out his origin, and it's like, "Oh, he is black. Get him."
Speaking of MJ, some radio station I remember stopped playing his songs because his past
Yeah, the
stuff was in the news again.
documentary or whatever. I think it's a documentary came out, and it was like I haven't seen it or anything, but I just heard it's like some of the crap stuff that he did.
Well, and then some
And
people
even
are
like
like,
even The Simpsons, they pulled their episode with Michael Jackson
Yeah.
voiced like Leon, whatever.
yeah,
They pulled that episode from like everything.
One of my coworker comment about that, and he didn't like the idea that we're changing history because we're erasing things.
yeah,
Yeah.
the white. You're
Well, that was like a
washing it
great
out.
episode too. Like from The Simpsons, that's like one of the iconic episodes.
Yeah.
But like, what was it about the document? Did it unveil anything new or something, or is this...
I really don't know. I haven't seen it or anything. Maybe I should, but I think it might have had something to do with little kids. I don't know. Don't quote me on
But
that.
he still, when he was alive, that was a thing too.
Well, yeah. But
So what was it? What's
but maybe
what's
what-
making people outraged right now?
I don't know if it's gonna be like hard evidence or anything like that. But that's the closest thing I could think of that would change people's minds.
I don't get it. It's just like it's almost as if if you didn't show a new show or whatever, then what is it? People wouldn't have been outraged. I mean, shit still happened. He's already dead. He's gone for a while now.
No, it doesn't change
Yeah.
much.
It
Really.
It doesn't change anything.
I think
right?
taking it or wiping the history or covering it up makes it worse, to be honest, than being transparent.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
like it has no his music and everything doesn't really tie in with like taking his songs off a radio station or something like that. What's that gonna change?
Well, even the episode, like if someone, like say in the current times who watch it, they wouldn't know who MJ was anyways.
Well, even when that episode did come out, he wasn't credited as doing the voice. It was like years after or something like that.
Right,
that
yeah.
They came out and said like, oh, he actually did do the voice.
Yeah,
So
so-
if they didn't even do that, would they be perfectly fine
I
with
would
keeping
I
it
would
sewed up?
assume Fox probably did it as a precaution. right? They didn't really think ahead.
I don't know.
Well,
It's a bit going overboard.
Yeah,
in
it
my
is.
opinion.
It's kind of overkill. Guy's dead already. He already got. Didn't he? He did get in trouble for all the allegations, didn't he?
Well, yeah, because there was like the time that he was carrying his baby in the balcony or whatever,
Yeah.
and there's pictures of him holding it over the balcony.
But like the kids that
There's
went
tons
to.
of shit.
But
he
that
did.
was a really good joke from Simpson. Well, it doesn't look so bad if you reverse it. and then they did that meme with firefighters where they're
Yeah.
bringing kids
Yeah,
into
yeah.
a fire's house.
Oh, the firefighters in reverse are just so evil. They're just like going, they're climbing up into the building, burning building. They're throwing the kid.
Here, mother, take them back in the house. Just flames everywhere.
They're making the fire bigger.
Oh yeah, they're sucking the water out of the fire.
Though the video looks so natural, it is actually really funny.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't get that. But anyways, anything else you guys want to say?
Nope. I don't know. It was just quiet. So.
B Money usually got something you want. Your end of the night dessert.
Oh, I guess since we were talking about kids.
Oh God.
What? I thought you were gonna be like, oh, since we're talking about desserts, he's gonna bring out pie again or something.
Oh no, I was just gonna talk about R. Kelly.
Oh.
His outrage was
Yeah.
his outrage was pretty funny.
Oh, what did he say? He just went fucking.
He was just saying like, you guys
He's
are
like,
ruining me, man. I can't have a relationship with my family. with
Yeah,
my
he's yelling. He
kids."
got me. He's like yelling.
Like
This
and then-
ain't me.
And the reporter, she was very calm and collected and was like,
Gayle King, yeah.
you're victim blaming or you're making yourself a victim.
Yeah, she's basically saying like, well, I was like, there is overwhelming evidence of it. Like she was basically asking him, okay, so let's hear from you. Did you ever have relations with underage girls? R. Kelly's like, hell no,
It's like, no, he made it worse. Like, I have a relationship with other girls. I have a relationship with 55-year-old.
Yeah, he was like, his whole thing was like, I'm R. Kelly. Like, why the fuck would I need to fucking lock up girls in my basement or whatever? You're like, I don't need to do that to get girls. That doesn't make sense. That ain't me. And he starts crying and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, there's no way his lawyer was thinking, yeah, you know what? Do the interview. Just fucking go nuts, man.
Yeah, like why?
Well, it must have been the same lawyer that Trump has. You know?
Trump has never got. Yeah, but Trump's lawyer is good because he fucking. Okay, aside from Cohen spilling the beans now, he got away with everything, right? Fucking R. Kelly didn't get away with anything. He got the exact opposite.
You're right. But in terms of just letting him talk to the public,
In my
I feel like it's the
in
same
my
level.
legal opinion, I think you should do this interview with Gayle King. Just lose your shit online. Oh my god, yeah. I was like, yeah.
That's a good defense strategy. Yeah, just say whatever's on your mind. Just
Oh, wow.
go with the flow.
Well, it would be good evidence to say like, Your Honor, my client is clinically insane. And then, because like
the
going to
function
a
of-
mental institute is better than prison.
I'll take your word for it.
Brian said, "Oh, trust me."
They got comfortable walls.
Yeah, one day he just talked about fucking Tao and Pi just a little bit too hard. People made some calls. Yeah, and then I don't know how you argue. All she has to say, Gayle King, was, "There's overwhelming evidence." Overwhelming evidence.
Which there was, right? Like
Pretty
more stuff
much.
came out. So
Well, fuck it. The guy lost it. Whatever. And then now Bryan has revealed that he frequents the psychiatric ward. How would you think you'd do well in the psych ward?
Like as an occupation or as a customer?
Customer.
yeah, that's what they call them.
As a patient.
Well,
I bet you
what
can
mean
find
do
some
well,
friends over there.
as in, like,
You'd
like how
adjust
long I
really
would
well.
stay, or like,
Let's just
or I
say-
just like get out.
Which would you rather spend 6 months in, Baltimore or the psych ward?
Probably Baltimore, because I would have more freedom.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
You can do all the crack you want.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to brush up my slang. I haven't.
Yeah, the slang is what's gonna.
I haven't talked in that language. Well, you gotta fit in. Like, find like if you're with the youngins.
You think
gotta-
you'll fit in?
It's got youngins down. So,
Like,
if I blackface myself, would that help me?
yeah, you'll fit in. That'll help you fit in.
holy shit! Yeah, you know what? Fucking do it, man. You should really do something like this. This is one of the best ideas you've ever had.
Oh man.
Oh God!
How can you get
Please,
shot
let's make this
faster?
happen. Maybe we should make a GoFundMe page. Make this happen. Get Phil to donate to you.
Oh, for the Baltimore trip.
Yeah.
Possible.
All right. We should make this happen.
Just get him a bucket of paint.
You gotta give him a fucking plane ticket too.
Well, what I
Actually, no. Fuck the plane ticket. You're driving down there. You're driving there. Fucking road trip. Road trip Baltimore. Get you some paint. Get you, I guess, fucking a book full of slang. You're set, man. That's all you need.
Benjamins. What does that mean? Flipping.
Oh yeah, save it for Baltimore, man. All right. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
All right, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, might as well. I don't know how long we've been going on for.
All right. We're almost 2 hours. All right. Any last words? No.
Sounds like a threat. but
Anybody
no.
want to plug anything? You got it
Oh,
going.
like, comment, subscribe.
Okay, yeah, we're
The
plugging
usual
ourselves.
crap. Yeah. Well, why not? This is the proper place to do it.
All right, and thank you to all the listeners that listen. It's not just the guy from Uzbekistan anymore. So.
Yeah, apparently Phil too.
Shout out
from
to
the United
Phil.
States.
Shout out to Phil.
I don't even know who the hell Phil is.
Sure, he doesn't know.
He's a fan. He's been listening to our archives.
He's our 12 views we get.
No, to anybody and everybody that listens to this,
No,
thank
yes,
you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.